So now we've had some time to digest this win at Oregon State for Fresno State. The Bulldogs still shouldn't have won this one. All right, if you just looked at the box score or even just the statistics, you'd say, how in the world did the Bulldogs win this game? And the reason is the Oregon State special teams. Let me read them to you. Oregon State had literally twice as much first downs as Fresno State. They had 30 to 15. Total yards, Oregon State led by 528 to Fresno State's 318. Bulldogs had more rushing yards than the Beavers at 197 to 140, but that's about it. Passing yards, forget about that. They had 388 compared to the Bulldogs 121. And time possession, they have 37 minutes, and Bulldogs have 22. I mean, if I just gave you that score, the Bulldogs get blown, at least lose by double digits, right? I mean, double digit score. I mean, so far this year, before the Oregon State game, the scoreboard was very indicative of the type of game that was played, but not this week, you know? And E.J. Warner, again, he's been much more productive as a runner. He had an interception, could have had more, and I know the coaching staff, based on what Ent said in the postgame and on the press of Monday, is going to at very least ride Warner until, they start losing, and they should be free and Warner after this upcoming game against Southern. But it's going to bite them in the butt, this inability to have an effective passing game. Look, you don't need to be Derek Carr or Jake Hayner, but you do need to be Marcus McMaryion, where the team has some fear of the passing game. And I'm going to keep harping about this because it's going to cost us games. All right? That's what's going to eat up this discussion. I don't care if E.J. Warner throws 3 interceptions against Southern. I really don't. The Bulldogs should do whatever they want to Southern, okay? There's a reason why Southern advertises their band, not their football team. And that's because their football team is generally not going to be very good outside of their league. All right? Let's take a look at Hawaii in a couple weeks, all right? First conference game on the road of the Islands. I have that one as a loss for a reason, even before Warner struggles, all right? He only has 1 rushing touchdown. I mean, come on. This is not 1940s. If the Bulldogs get into a shootout at Hawaii, or even down double digits, especially, that was going to be all she wrote. This is not an offense that's built for coming back late. And yeah, I know we had that drive at the end where they only threw 2 passes that had, whatever. But most of that was done by rushing. All right? That was one drive. And again, that was because Oregon State kept making mistakes on their special teams. They missed, I don't know, all the, if they made 6 special teams mistakes, in terms of, botch snaps. I think if they make less than 1, the Bulldogs lose. And you can't count on a team doing that. All right? You just can't count on it. You can't count on the punter making botching a low snap and then kicking it when whatever the hell that one play was that trended all over social media. You just can't. This is not a sustainable way to win. You can't count on a team self-destructing for you. All right, Hawaii generally doesn't do that on the road. I mean, it's at their own place. And this is much more of a preview than review, and I'm sorry about that, but what more can really be said? I just listed statistics. If you're a Bulldog fan by now, you've seen all the mistakes that Oregon State made. And yes, a win is a win is a win. We all understand that. It's good they had that. It's good they had the lead at halftime 20-15. It's good that they were able to get a pick 6 and bump up the turnover rate. I think they got 200. They got 2 interceptions. One by Harris. One by who's the other one? Yeah, Embry. Yes, Embry. So yes, it's good they bumped up the turnover ratio. But they still have so much work to do. And if Warner is that fragile of a quarterback that you can't even put in, let's say the game at second half against Southern is outreach. Why can't we put in Cochran and Bando in the second half and see what they can do, right? If he's a starter, he shouldn't have any problem with backup quarterbacks just coming in, right? I mean, this is going to cost us games. And Coach Entz, is he just going to choose to ignore that until the loss comes, and then we say we told you so, that we knew this was coming? Well, I'm not going to try and bury this team. Let's not do that anymore until they won. I mean, let's get back to the good things. The Bulldogs won back-to-back games, the first time since October of last season. They managed to overcome two really bad calls by the refs. Oregon State fans I saw complain about the holding calls and the false starts. And, that's on you guys, right? Your coach dropped the F-bomb for a reason. Hell, your offensive line caught the F-bomb that was picked up on the mic, which you'll never see in college football. Y'all self-destructed on your own, okay? The false starts at your own place, really? You should never have a false start at home. Ever. And you had, 5 of them that put offs and lawns? All right? Refs did not cost you guys nothing. All right? You were begging to give that game away. So I don't want to see no Beaver fans come to Fresno next year if the game is there. Fresno saying, oh, well, you would have, whatever. I'm not interested in seeing that. Josiah Freeman also had a career-high day, 82 yards on 5 touchdowns. Richie Anderson extended he's got a 10-game consecutive games of a catch. Rayshon Speedy Luke, he's got 5 fourth touchdowns already as a Bulldog. He only has 5 in his whole career. I don't know how if that guy only has 5 touchdowns so far. That is incredible. Not in a good way. I don't know how we keep him out of the transfer portal NIL at the rate he's going. If he goes to the NFL after this year, I think he's a junior. Hopefully the Bulldogs can claim him. Hopefully the Bulldogs can say, oh, yeah, he was out everywhere else, but he only starred here. I mean, why not? I mean, I'm fine. All those guys transferring on. It's not Evan Williams' situation, but that's a different discussion. Let's also pick up some first times. Jaden Davis got his first career sack. Jason Jacks got his first career sack. So we had a lot of good first here. Harris, again, got his first, Simeon Harris got his first interception as Bulldog. Pearson, he's just been a stud. He's been amazing. I think he's the defensive player of the year already for the Mountain West. He's had career high 16 tackles, second straight game, double digits. And how about Jaden Carrillo? I think might have been his first career touchdown. Local guy, walked on, wanted to be a Bulldog. You can't help but root for those players. And that was the first punt return for a touchdown, I guess is how they put it, since last year against Sacramento State by former player Jay Lamosse. And Dylan Winch, after the horrible year he had last year, had 3 for 3 on field goals this day, Mountain West Special Teams Player of the Week. It's great that it's great that he's bouncing back so far after the horrible way he ended this year. He really had a rough season last year, which kind of summed up the whole season for Fresno State. So yeah, it seems like as a whole, at least when it comes to special teams, the Bulldogs are fine. They have players who are picking up slack. I think the defense will get better. It's just this passing game, Warner knowing that eventually it's going to cost you games that it probably shouldn't. Later in the year, that is really concerning if you're a Fresno State fan. But we got the win. We play Southern, so we should be 3-1 going to Hawaii next week. Talk about Southern in a bit. But for now, go Dogs.